Yo, so as I said for this video, I'm ranking the 7 superhero movies that came out in 2017, goes from the one I think is the weakest to the one I think is the best. Just to be clear, I like all of them, but here we go. The first one on the bottom of my list, it's not really a 7, I think I more call it a 6.5. Only because I don't necessarily entirely consider a superhero movie. That is the Lego Batman movie. Yes, it is technically based on a character from DC Comics, but then it has so many outside elements. I mean, the movie is just tremendous fun. I agree, it's a very good film to watch, very fun, but it's got so many outside elements. I don't necessarily consider it a proper superhero movie. Like, it's got Batman in there and a load of characters from DC Comics, and then it's also got Daleks, Voldemort, Sauron, the Wicked Witch of the West, Godzilla. Yeah, with all those elements, you can't necessarily consider it a superhero movie as opposed to the rest. So that's why it's 6.5. Ranked at number 6 on my list is Spider-Man Homecoming. I, as I said, I like all of these, and I liked Spider-Man Homecoming. I felt it was a very good film. And it's a good way of kind of easing us once again into Peter Parker's waters. But yeah, to me, my main problem with this was, to me, it didn't feel like a Spider-Man movie, at least not in the ways that the previous films did. It felt more like an MCU movie that just happened to have Spider-Man in it. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but yeah, that's why, for me, it's rather low. One step above that, Thor Ragnarok. I've seen people who really like this movie who put it near the top of their lists, and I can respect those people. But as I said, the Thor movies for me, they're good. I've seen them through. I mean, they kind of go like quite a lot of franchises these days, which is start off good, have a bit of a dip in the middle, but then regain it for the third one. As I said, I think Thor Ragnarok is the best of the 3 Thor movies, but after the superhero movie this year, I felt it was fun, but not necessarily the best. It's got some good stuff in there, but yeah. So that's why for me it came at 5th. 4th was Wonder Woman. This was kind of groundbreaking, the first superhero movie that focused entirely on a female character. I think I'm right in saying that. I'm not sure Marvel has done one yet, but yeah. Once again, it's interesting to see Diana's origin. It kind of plays like Captain America: The First Avenger did, kind of incorporating bits of history. With her, you just kind of have to expect that she survived that long, whereas with Steve, he plunged into the Arctic and he plunged into the ocean and was frozen over, whereas we're just supposed to suspect that she lived the entire time. But yeah, as I said, it's a good movie. I I went to see it with a family member, and I really enjoyed it. It does what the Captain America franchise did well, mixing in kind of small bits of history, but also keeping the focus on our main character, Diana. I felt it was a good go. And number 3, the one I've just seen, Justice League. This movie had so much to live up to, and I think it did. Whether it went beyond, yeah, well, you could argue that, but yeah, I still think this movie was just a hell of a lot of fun. Just finally seeing all these characters that you've wanted to see for years finally come together on the big screen. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Aquaman, and The Flash, just all of them coming together for that movie. That to me was gold. I love that. Anyway, Justice League was at number 3. At number 2, one step above that, was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. This one as well had a lot to live up to. Out of all the MCU films, the original Guardians of the Galaxy is among my favourites, and I think it's at the top of my list actually. And just this movie kind of had a lot of potential to live up to, and I think it continued the story very well. It also introduced the new characters of Mantis, gave us hints at Adam Warlock, and also introduced us to Ego, played by Kurt Russell. It was also good to see the kind of relationship develop between Gamora and her sister Nebula, which I think we may see more of in Infinity War. And yeah, and once again, as with all these movies, I feel it's good. Whether it's better than the previous one, I don't know if I'd go that far, but I still think it's a very entertaining movie. And that's why it got the number 2 on my list. And number 1, Logan. This movie, I'm not going to say it was entertaining. That would be a disservice to it. This movie was heartbreaking. This, I'm not even sure entirely how to describe it. Because it's not all kind of action, adventure, comedy. It does have elements of that in there, but the main point of Logan, I think, was looking on the tragedy. Kind of looking on the kind of tragic events unfolding before a man who has lived for so many years and at this point just wants to die, even if the world doesn't let him. I mean, I know it's Hugh Jackman's final go as Wolverine, and I think also Patrick Stewart's first final go at Professor X, and I honestly think both of them chose a brilliant one to go out on. I remember crying at the end of this movie, and for good reason. I mean, I also remember crying when I finally got the movie on DVD. Kind of rewatched it through, and it still was very heavy, kind of emotionally heavy. So yeah, while the rest of the superhero movies of 2017 have kind of leaned more towards kind of comedy and action, Logan I think was the best because it focused more on one character going through life and the harsh tragedies that come with it. Yeah, that's why I personally think it's the best. Well, I know quite a lot more kind of superhero movies are planned out over the next few years, such as they've got the X-Men have got Dark Phoenix coming out and the New Mutants. The DC extended universe have got Aquaman coming up, and I think there's a lot more coming with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like the first half of Infinity War, as well as Black Panther. So yeah, we've got another kind of good year to look forward to with superhero movies. Just have to see how they plan out. Anyway, see ya.